John McCain aide invokes the Fifth to avoid testifying on the Trump dossier by Sean for YourNewsWire.com. David Kramer, a former State Department official and longtime John McCain aide, has invoked the Fifth Amendment in order to wiggle out of testifying before Congress on the Trump dossier. Kramer, who was a central player in how the debunked Trump dossier made its way to the FBI in 2016, testified before the House Intelligence Committee in December in a closed-door session. A subpoena was issued for mid-January. According to a law enforcement source, Kramer did not show up and instead chose to exercise his Fifth Amendment rights. Breitbart.com reports, in addition to being asked to testify on Capitol Hill, Kramer last December gave a videotaped deposition as part of a separate court case against BuzzFeed, which first published the dossier. According to a characterization of the deposition by Fox News, which viewed British court documents, Kramer discussed his communication with Christopher Steele, the former British spy hired by the controversial Fusion GPS firm to produce the questionable anti-Trump document. However, Kramer's attorneys have reportedly requested that the deposition be kept private. FoxNews.com posed the following 4 questions to Kramer's Florida attorney, Marcos Jimenez. Fox News asked why Kramer took the Fifth, why he's no longer cooperating with the committee, why they want to keep the BuzzFeed deposition under seal, and whether Kramer helped provide the document to BuzzFeed. All these, they're all yes to the above asked questions. Come on. On January 10th, CNN was first to report, based on leaked information, that the contents of the dossier were presented during classified briefings 1 week earlier to then-President Obama and President-elect Trump. Just after CNN's January 10 report on the classified briefings about the dossier, BuzzFeed published its full, unverified contents. Last October, McCain denied providing the dossier to BuzzFeed and said that he only gave the material to the FBI. I gave it to no one except for the director of the FBI, Comey. I don't know why you're digging this up now, Mr. McCain told the Daily Caller during what the news website described as a testy exchange. And why didn't he say, I gave it to Comey, the head of the director of the FBI, right? He just said, I gave it to the director of the FBI, not to name Comey, as if nobody knows who Comey was. Earlier this month, the Washington Post reported that Kramer received a copy of the dossier directly from Fusion GPS after McCain expressed interest in the document. McCain then reportedly passed the dossier directly to the FBI Director James Comey. Yeah, and McCain said that he didn't see what's the contents of that dossier. Yeah, give me a break, McCain. Those details mark the clearest indication yet that McCain may have known that the dossier originated with Fusion GPS, you think? Meaning that he may have knowingly passed on political material to the FBI. He knew darn well what he was doing. Until now, it has not been clear whether McCain was aware of the origins of the dossier when he hand-delivered the unsubstantiated document to Comey. It is still not clear whether McCain knew that Fusion GPS's anti-Trump work resulting in the dossier was funded by Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign and the Democratic National Committee, DNC, via the Perkins Coie law firm. Why don't we just say Hillary paid for it, no Democratic National Committee, and no Clinton presidential campaign? Yeah, the money probably was taken out from there, which she actually put into it, and to her law firm, Perkins Coie, so it doesn't show that she directly did it, but it's Hillary Clinton. McCain has not responded Now there's a surprise, to multiple Breitbart News requests seeking comment on the matter. You know, what a joke, right? The details about McCain's involvement were buried towards the end of a nearly 4,100-word February 6th Post article titled, "Hero or Hired Gun?" That's a great title. How a British former spy became a flashpoint in the Russia investigation. The article was an extensive report describing the work done by Steele, who was contracted by Fusion GPS to produce the dossier. The Post article followed the release of a 4-page House Intelligence Committee memo alleging abuse of surveillance authority allegedly utilizing the questionable dossier. According to the Post, Steele originally sought out Sir Andrew Wood, a former British ambassador to Moscow and friend of Steele, for advice prior to the election concerning his alleged research into Trump. In mid-November, following Trump's victory, Wood reportedly turned to Steele to discuss whether additional steps were necessary to ensure the U.S. government was aware of Steele's charges about Trump and Russia. Wood said that he then reached out to Kramer, who was known for his close ties to McCain, according to the Post. The Post cited Wood, explaining that Kramer had arranged for Wood to meet McCain in December of 2016 on the sidelines of a security conference in Canada. There, Wood described detailing Steele's claim at the meeting with McCain, telling the Arizona senator that he could arrange for the politician to review the purported research. "I told him, I know there's a document, I haven't read it, but it seems to me that it's reliably set up," Wood told the Post. Wood described McCain as being visibly shocked and expressing interest in reading the full report. "Yeah, I know that." 10 days after the Canada meeting, Kramer met Steele at Heathrow Airport in London and then went to Steele's home, where then McCain associates spent several hours reviewing the dossier claims, according to people familiar with the events who spoke to the Post. And McCain said he didn't know what the contents was, right? Yeah, okay. The Post relates that Kramer then received a physical copy of the dossier directly from Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson. Back in Washington, Kramer received a copy of the dossier from Simpson and completed the handoff to McCain in a private meeting on December 9th. McCain gave Comey the dossier, passing along information that Steele had provided to the FBI earlier in the year. Shortly before Inauguration Day, Comey briefed Trump on the document, alerting him to what the FBI director would later describe to Congress as a report that contained salacious and unverified information that was circulating in the media. The Post reporting marks the first public description of McCain's associate Kramer as having received the dossier directly from Fusion GPS. In a New York Times op-ed last month, Simpson and his fellow GPS co-founder Peter Fritsch wrote that they helped McCain share their anti-Trump dossier with the Obama-era intelligence community via an unnamed emissary. After the election, Mr. Steele decided to share his intelligence with Senator McCain via an emissary. The Fusion GPS founders related, "We helped him do that. The goal was to alert the United States national security community to an attack on our country by a hostile foreign power." What a... Simpson did not write that he directly handed the dossier to an emissary. It was not clear from the obscure phraseology in the Times op-ed whether McCain knew Fusion GPS was behind the dossier or whether the unnamed emissary was even aware of Fusion GPS's connection to the document. The Post revelation about Kramer reportedly receiving the dossier from Simpson sheds new light on the topic. A January 11, 2017 statement from McCain attempted to explain why he provided the Steele dossier to the FBI, but did not mention how he came to possess the dossier or whether he knew who funded it. Upon examination of the contents and unable to make a judgment about their accuracy, I delivered the information to the director of the FBI. McCain said at the time that has been the extent of my contact with the FBI or any other government agency regarding this issue. Newsweek later reported that McCain directly Kramer to meet Steele, or directed Kramer to meet Steele. Kramer was reportedly directed to meet with Steele in London by McCain and then received copies of the Trump-Russia dossier and delivered them to the Arizona senator. Upon returning home, McCain then gave the dossier to the FBI in December of 2016. Yeah, and you're going to tell me McCain didn't read it, right? Also, Fox News, which saw the British court documents related to a civil lawsuit, reported that Steele testified that an arrangement was made whereby Fusion GPS would use Kramer to deliver hard copies of the dossier to McCain, who in turn gave the dossier to the FBI. It is still unclear why McCain needed to deliver the dossier to Comey last December, but then according to the House memo, the FBI had not only already launched an investigation into Trump's campaign, partially utilizing the dossier, fully utilizing the dossier, but Comey himself had 2 months earlier signed an application using the dossier to obtain a FISA warrant on Carter Page, who briefly served as a volunteer foreign policy advisor to Trump's campaign. Yeah, because they couldn't get the FISA warrant under Trump's name. They had to use Carter Page, and I think Carter Page was an FBI plant, and he had worked for the DNC in the 90s, and he had worked for the FBI also. So Carter Page was a plant in order to get the FISA warrant on Trump, but they had to use Carter Page's name in order to get the FISA warrant, but that they spied on Trump through that. Shortly after McCain gave Steele's dossier to Comey, the FBI chief updated then President-elect Trump and President Obama on the dossier in a classified briefing. As Breitbart News documented, Comey's dossier briefing to Trump was subsequently leaked to the news media, setting in motion a flurry of news media attention on the dossier, including the release of the document to the public. The briefing also may have provided the veneer of respectability to a document that had been circulating for months within the news media, but widely considered too unverified to publicize. Yeah, right. They didn't stop. They publicized it. Comey went to Trump and told him either you're gonna follow the way we're going, or else this dossier is gonna come into full force, And Trump wasn't going to bend to this kind of like a veiled threat, so to speak, And they just, this is the deep state in full action. And that's why, and that's how they work, because McCain he's Republican, but in name only, you see. The Democrats put their spies, so to speak, like McCain, to work for them. Do you see? It's all a setup. It's all a setup, because McCain doesn't represent the Republican Party. He never helped the Republican Party, only if he was to get elected in name only. You see what I'm saying? So these he's actually working for the Democrats. He's a George Soros puppet. He gets paid through George Soros. So what does this tell you? That these are actually, he's deep state. This is one of the deep state players here, McCain. Yeah, and his institute, the Corrupt Institute, that's well known, for other disturbing things that I'm not talking about here, where they had Ashton Kutcher as the front man, the face of that for this work that supposedly McCain was doing, which was all like, forget about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.